Let me see the claim which you believe to be true.
What doesn't have to be in the Quran.
So where is it? I simplified it and said, show me the claim that Muhammad came from Ishmael.
That he came from Islam?
Yeah, just let's start with that.
Islamic tradition, there's a lot of genealogies back to it. Like scholars have done this.
But they all contradict each other. Give me any Arabic inscription that shows me the genealogy, because Muslims always say that they have the chains of narration from the Quran, they have the chain of narration from the Hadith, they know who the person is, when they lived, if they were trustworthy. So my question would be, if I want to learn British history, I would not take a boat to China and ask a Chinese man about British history. So an Arab should not go to the Jew book to talk about their own history. So I want from an Islamic source, wherever it is, that shows me the genealogy so I can see who they were, when they lived, if they were trustworthy, going all the way back to Ishmael. And also, and I'll show you this as well. Yeah, look. So, because you know when he talked about the Zamzam well, when Hagar ran to Shur, this is where Shur is, yeah. But they're saying she ran all the way
to Arabia,
to Mecca, which is all the way. So from where they were, you're saying because when she ran into the wilderness, that's where she was, and you're saying. But the mountains were all the way down there.
How do you know?
Because she went to the wilderness of Shur, which it says in the Bible, which is here.
How do you know this is here?
Because we can use.
Show it to me. Prove to me
that she ran to.
Because from what I remember, when I read this one, it said that he went downhill. Next week, if you want, these things you tell me, I'm gonna check them properly and come.
Okay. And also one more verse, because he says that the Ishmaelites are blessed. So this is Genesis 16. Behold, you are pregnant, and you shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has listened to your affliction. He shall be a wild donkey of a man. So do you agree that Ishmaelites are a wild donkey of a man, and his hands shall be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and he shall dwell over against all his kinsmen? So do you agree that the Ishmaelites are a donkey of a man?
Whereas if he's the donkey or not, God's given blessing.
I'm asking you, do you agree?
Maybe he's a donkey, but
I'm asking you, if you agree with the Bible, do you agree with this passage? Yes or no? That's all I'm asking.
He shall be a wild donkey of a man, Ishmael.
Yes.
And his hand against everyone. That's what we have now. We are now against everyone.
So, okay. So at least you admit a wild donkey of a man. That's good. That's God's word, not mine. Okay.
How do we establish that God's word?
Huh?
Has he accepted that's God's word?
Yeah, he just said yeah.
Because
he's using the Bible to prove the Arabs are Ishmaelites.
He's just speaking some sentences.
So I'm saying you can't pick and choose. So if you agree with what God said about Ishmael, yes, agree with everything. You can't pick and choose.
And then also, as I said, God said, and about Ishmael, I have heard about him from you. Here's I'm gonna bless him, and I'm gonna fruit him, and I'm gonna make a lot of him. I'm gonna make from him a big nation.
So, brother,
whereas he's a half
question.
or not? Yeah.
Sorry, do you know about the kingdom of Sheba by any chance? Or the oil fields of Sheba in Saudi Arabia? No, okay.
The kingdom of who?
Sheba.
What you're discussing today, is it a continuation of what you were talking about last week, the Abrahamic genealogy?
Yeah, whether there's any for Muslims to prove that Arabs came from Ishmael with a valid genealogy.
Okay.
Meaning,
okay.
the Quran is my criteria.
No problem.
Right? So if I were to show you something that agrees with me in the Bible,
yep.
But you show me something that doesn't agree with me,
yep.
and I were to tell you I don't agree with that because of this,
no problem.
Would you then say, oh no, for you to accept this, you have to accept everything as well?
No, his criteria is different.
Oh, is it different?
So if you say
that's
fine
okay.
from a Muslim perspective. So my criteria here, and which I keep asking people, is Arabs claim that Muhammad is from the line of Ishmael.
Yes.
So I'm saying, according to the Bible, this is not true. So if, as you said, you can reject things that don't agree with the Quran as a Muslim.
Specifically, what this is about Ismail, that's the...
Yeah, no, that's fine. So my other criteria is, show me from the Quran, the Sunnah, or any Islamic literature that Muhammad was from the line of Ishmael.
So basically, the Prophet ﷺ, he gave his genealogy, but he made sure to stop at a specific
At Adnan.
Right, at Adnan.
Right.
So the question now becomes very simple.
Yeah.
Assuming we know the genealogy of Adnan, outside of, because the idea of the Quran...
Do you know when Adnan lived?
When he lived?
Yeah.
I mean, there's estimates.
What century?
I don't remember the year, but it's slightly, it's before Jesus Christ. It's in the BCs.
Right. So it's still about 1,000 years after Ishmael.
Say that again?
About 1,000 years.
The Gospel according to Matthew. Matthew 1. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham.
Yeah, so basically what he read out is Jesus' genealogy. So the question is, as Muslim, they will talk about, we have the chain from the Quran, chain of narrators from the Hadith, so we can check if the person was trustworthy, when they lived, who they knew. So in terms of the genealogy, we see in the Bible Jesus' genealogy to prove this very thing. So I'm saying if someone claims to be from the line of Ishmael, they should also be able to prove their claim. You shouldn't have to go to the Jew to claim that you are descendants from this person.
I understand what you're saying. I get your point. But if you come at it with the angle of Christianity, the concept of genealogy in Christianity, it's a point that you should make.
Right.
But the point is, the same reason why the Prophet didn't go all the way back is the same criteria we should hold today, meaning it really doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things.
Well, if you're claiming someone is from it, then it is important.
No, the thing is, we do claim.
Because if I say to you
I got you.
about the Bible and you say who authored it, and you ask me, do I have chains? You would say that's important.
Right.
So then you're picking and choosing when you have a chain of something.
You made the point about the chain of narrations.
Right.
Our chains of narration go to the Prophet, and that's it.
Right.
Anything happened even a year before,
Right.
unless it was told to us by the people we trust.
Right.
We don't have to accept
And our
it.
chain of genealogy goes from Jesus all the way to Abraham. So you should be able to show me the same for
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
No, we accept that though.
Yeah, but I'm saying you should be able to show me the same from Muhammad to Ishmael.
Why would we have?
Because you made a claim, we have the chains of narration that go back to the Prophet to show a continuation, which is what Muslims are proud of.
Okay, here's the question now becomes: okay, is this an argument separate from the concept of Islamic idea and Islamic message? Is it like if you can't prove this, therefore this is wrong, or is this?
Well, yeah, it would heavily tie in together.
Okay, fine. And if it ties in together,
Right.
the approach will be completely different, right? Because in that situation, you would have to say, let me face it. So in that situation, you'd have to account for a few things, right? First of them being, we make a claim that we're all from Adam, right?
Yeah.
All of us.
Right. Yeah.
Do you accept that?
Yeah, of course.
Show me.
We have it in the Bible, we have a genealogy.
Yours.
Yeah.
Are you from Adam?
Yeah, originally, yeah.
You have to show me your genealogy going back then.
Well, we know that only, if you take the Bible as true, then we know people only came from Adam. I cannot give my genealogy, but we know it because it originated from that one person. But the difference with Muhammad is because there were more people at a time where he could have been from anyone. Therefore, he has to show he is from that person. You're trying to make a false equivocation because
I didn't.
my point is this.
It's not a false equivocation.
No, I'll tell you why.
It was a rhetorical question.
Okay,
It was a
all right.
completely rhetorical
Okay.
question. Because the same.
Am I from Adam? Can I prove it?
Like the line back.
No, but line, genealogy line.
Yeah, I can.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Noah had 3 children.
No, I want you, your dad, his dad.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Because the same criteria. The
then-
reason-
No, but I know. But no, but that's
No,
let him make his point.
That's not my point though.
I know.
That's a silly point. I agree that's a silly point. But I'm trying to get at
I
something.
thought,
Yeah.
I thought it was being serious.
No, that's not the point itself. Because I know it's unreasonable. I won't ask you. I can do the same thing.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
but
I have the
yeah.
same belief.
I
Okay.
can show you that from Noah.
I have the same belief. I'm from Adam as well, and I agree with this. So
Okay, yeah. So make your
The criteria you use
yes.
that links you back to Adam is the same criteria we use that links the Prophet back to Ismail. Because if the scripture tells us this, right? Because you're
So
relying.
I'm saying, show me in your scripture where it even says that
that what?
he's from Ishmael.
That he's from Ismail.
Yeah.
If you look at the Hadith,
Do you read Arabic?
I do anyway.
Okay. Do you have a Quran on you?
Which verse is that?
990.
990. That's.
Because you believe Arabs are from Ishmael, right?
I think everyone believes that.
Okay, Arabs from Ishmael. Wait. Yeah.
It's the one that you can prove.
You
There's way more
can't
evidence.
prove it.
There's more evidence for that.
There
than
isn't.
There's more
There
evidence.
isn't. I'll show you the
So
evidence.
there's less evidence. Than
Yeah,
leading you back to
read that first.
Surah At-Tawbah, verse number 9.
Yeah, 990.
90, verse 90.
Yeah, 90. Now, what does Allah say about the Arabs in that?
I'll read it in English. Okay, so nomadic Arabs also came with excuses, seeking exemption, and those who were untrue to Allah and His Messenger remained behind with no excuse. The unfaithful among them will be afflicted with a painful punishment. So
Is Allah speaking favorably of the Arabs, or is he speaking disfavorably of the Arabs in that verse?
who is he speaking about? That's the question.
The Arabs.
Which Arabs?
That's what I asked you to read. That's what I asked you to read, because you said Ishmael is the father of the Arabs. So the context is Allah speaking about the Arabs.
So he said verse 90, right?
Yeah, 90.
So verse 90 is right here.
Right.
We'll just go back up here, right? So do you know about the
Yeah, so
concept,
just-
do you know about the concept? Before I get anywhere, I want
Right.
to understand where you're at.
Okay.
Do you believe in the concept of the reason for the revelation?
Which is what?
Every single verse in the Quran,
Yeah.
we know when it was revealed,
Okay.
and for what purpose it was revealed.
Right.
Before asking that
But
question-
before you go on,
Before I even answer the question.
Yeah, but before you go on, you notice his claim. We know about when the verse is revealed and why.
Yeah.
And when I keep asking about the genealogy,
The genealogy-
no, but I'm just saying. Notice that you will say you will say that we have to change. But when it comes to genealogy, it's not so important. But
No,
when,
no,
okay.
it's not, okay.
But that's fine. Go
Again,
to your point
again.
anyway.
I don't agree with that point. I don't like it. 'Cause
No, but you said we
that's
know.
a slide.
Okay.
That's a slide. I'll tell you why that's a slide. The chains of narration, like for example, what the Prophet said,
Mm.
what the Prophet did.
No, but stick with the Arabs a bit, and then you can respond to that
To that point.
chain.
Okay, I'll stick with the Arabs.
Yeah.
This specific verse doesn't speak about Arabs.
Okay.
In general.
So who's the
Because
Arab?
in the same Quran, if you
Right.
were to, first of all, if you understand where the verse is revealed,
Does it use the word Arab
Arab. It uses the word Arab in many places.
in that verse?
Yeah, it does use that.
So what is it when it refers to Arab in that verse?
It's speaking
who
about
is it-
specific people,
which people?
Arabs, some nomadic, the Bedouins. That's what it
Okay,
is.
which are from Ishmael.
I mean, there's the Arabs, yeah.
Okay, so the Arabs, Allah is speaking disfavorably about the Arabs from Ishmael.
I mean, even the Meccans the Prophet was sent to that Allah speaks about disfavorably are also from Ismail.
Yeah, but Allah is speaking disfavorably. That's my point, because the claim is Arabs came from Ishmael, but we even find a verse within the Quran where Allah is criticizing their, well, maybe you might say they're Bedouins, but they're still the Arabs. But Arab just means
This
that,
isn't a general criticism. That's what I was asking. Do you know why the verse was revealed? It's
So-
specific on
so-
specific people. So, for example, I'll give you a
so who were the specific people?
I'll give you the backstory and give you the names. I
Okay.
don't want to misquote the Quran, but I know it's specifically to do with all of Surah At-Tawbah. The message is consistent with the reason it was revealed.
Okay,
But the point is, I'll give you the reference. For that.
right,
And the reason I was asking for the reason of revelation. So, for example, I'll give you a simple.
yeah,
The idea that because I think I understand what you're saying.
right.
What you're saying is basically
If you don't mind if I,
mic it up. Yeah, no, go ahead. So
I just- yeah.
the argument is it's a floating argument.
okay,
Because are we saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks unfavorably of the Arabs, therefore they're not from Ismail? I don't understand how it ties in together. And I'll keep going, I'm not done with the point. The other point is this. The Meccans that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent to was spoken about disfavorably. Some mentioned by name, yeah, but generally the majority of the people in Mecca were Arabs. That everyone knows, no one disagrees with this, and they were spoken about disfavorably. How that ties into whether or not they're from Ismail or whether or not they're from Noah or Adam is besides the point. Because it's like we have an argument here. Your argument is with the genealogy, yeah, whether we can prove it or not. And I wanted to listen to your points about that. That's fine. But now using Quranic verses that have nothing to do with that specific genealogy of Ismail and somehow trying to tie back into it, it's an argument that has no end because the premise in the beginning is inconsistent.
Well, I would say in response to that, because the Arabs are obviously supposed to be the best of nations, and obviously they come.
Arabs, the Muslims, not the Arabs, the Muslims.
No, even Arab. Well, I'll find evidence for that later.
I can refute that point from the Quran itself.
Okay, I have evidence to say otherwise, but
That the Arabs are the
yeah,
Higher than the Quran.
what?
There's no evidence
You have-
higher than the
That
Quran.
all the Arabs are solid. The kuffar, the disbelievers, the
yeah,
Magians.
yeah. But
everyone-
that's why Muhammad was taken apparently from the Arabs rather than the Jews, because the Jews were unfaithful, according to your belief, in preserving the the Torah. So he went. That's why Muhammad is the best amongst them, because they were a favored nation. So that's why Muhammad is the first or whatever.
If you go to the Bible, even in the Old Testament, it talks about Ismail. There's going to be a great nation that's going to come from Ismail, right?
A blessed nation.
A blessed nation, blessed.
But that's what we go to my original point, which was show me Muhammad was from. Because
okay, I see what you're doing.
Because let me show you something. Let me just show you something.
So in an effort to disprove the fact that that blessed nation is our nation, you deny that the Prophet Muhammad is from Ismail. So that just throws the whole claim under the bus.
No, but it's not even that. But that's an aspect. So according to the Bible, Abraham had 3 wives.
According to the Bible, again.
Sarah, Hagar.
We assume that the Bible is
no problem. Keturah.
Okay.
And that's why, because you had a kingdom called Sheba, which was in Yemen, which went all the way up to Medina. Muhammad's family origin was from the Yemen region. So these are places that you can still see the name today. Dedan in Saudi Arabia. You have the oil fields of Sheba as well. Obviously you have Kedar in Arabia as well, but this is where the Arabs, it's the mix, but this is where those specifically in Saudi Arabia came from. So then,
this is in the Bible.
Yeah, obviously not the people are obviously not the diagram, but the people are.
The people, all of these people.
Yeah. These are the sons of Ishmael.
And their genealogy is linked back to each other.
Yeah, you can read.
So if I ask you about Abida.
Oh, I don't know everyone's thing. I'd have to look at the passage, but they're all.
But the question now is, if I pick Abida, for example,
yeah.
I don't know who that is. Okay, but I pick Abida. Can you show me that he's from Midian and Midian is from? Is this down or is this like?
Yeah, so it'll tell you the genealogy.
So
you
I can ask for, let's say, Abida, and you can show me a biblical verse that shows me every step of the way.
Not afterwards, but before.
So every step of the way.
So
his dad and his dad.
Yeah, from Abraham. No, up to Abraham.
So you're telling me
Yeah.
from Abraham and his wife Keturah.
Yeah, it's not many. It's not many generations.
It was 2 generations, and we had Abida.
Yes.
And then from Abida, we just say, oh, that's all the Bedouins. And then from Sheba, we say, oh, that's the...
Yeah, we don't know the exact, because it got mixed up. So sometimes we can look historically, and regions still bear the name. Like, for example, Muslims will say Kedar is in Arabia, as evidence that the Bible talks about the Arabs.
Okay, so based on this diagram, your evidence for this is our lack of evidence. Is that...
No, the evidence for this would be the match with his, because you won't have a genealogy, for example, from Sheba to today.
Okay, so now if I were to ask
but we know where Sheba would have dwelt, and we see the kingdoms, for example, that go with the Bible.
First, I need to understand what kind of evidence you'd accept. First, I want to let's set that to basics first. So you want evidence in the Quran,
or the Sunnah, or pre-Islamic inscriptions, or what the Arabs wrote about themselves, showing that they believed that they were from the line of Ishmael. Because the first claim I'm making is we only see after the Quran was revealed that this claim or association, actually no, it was before. Actually, no, let me correct myself, because we have someone called Josephus, who was a Jewish historian. He was the first person to call Arabs Ishmaelites. It was a catch-all term, and then Christians started using this term for Arabs, and then the Muslims started using it themselves. But my point is, according to the Bible, this is actually a false statement, because we can actually see where they really came from.
I understand your point.
Right.
But here's the question. It's twofold, right? First of all, it's clear to everyone that Josephus was not a Muslim.
Yeah.
They have no reason to make this claim unless he believed that it was true. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He didn't claim. The base wasn't a justification or to something he needs for a claim to his prophet. That's the first thing. Second thing is, we're still assuming that the Bible is an authentic source of history.
Right.
That's the second thing.
Yep.
Of course, it depends. Again, it depends.
And here's the problem with that. You can disregard the Bible. That's why I've asked you from evidence from the Sunnah, the Quran, specifically of the genealogy. And also, just one other point. This is from Bukhari, and I'll just skip the main bit. So speaking of Ishmael, it says the child, i.e. Ishmael, grew up and learned Arabic from them, and his virtues caused them to love. So if Ishmael was the father of the Arabs, how
He
did...
wasn't the father of the Arabs. Ismail.
Yeah.
Okay, from.
Because I asked you before, where did the Arabs come from? You said Ishmael.
No. So the Arabs, like directly, there's different kinds of Arabs.
Okay.
There's different kinds of Arabs.
All right.
And I don't know if you've read about this, but there's the old Arabs, like the ancient Arabs. Yeah.
Okay.
They were there the entire
Okay.
time. Yeah. Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail.
Yeah.
But by the time they came,
So Ishmael wasn't the father of the Arabs.
no, it depends on what you mean.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's different. There's the ancient Arabs. Yeah.
Which or who?
I think I don't know the names of them, man, but I think Ad and the people fall into it. I'm not sure. Though.
Is this in the Quran?
This is in the Quran.
Okay.
It's not in the Quran.
It's not.
It's not in the Quran. No, it's not.
Okay, so
where
where did
like genealogy? It's not like the Bible where there's like genealogy. This guy was the son of this. So we don't have that, right?
Okay.
Throughout the entire Quran for anybody. Not
So
just
there
the
was
Prophet.
Arabs before,
No, the
according.
Arabs. The Arabs before. Yes, this is historical. This is historically.
Okay.
I can show you the source of it.
All right.
And the reason I don't want to be generous with the answers, I don't want to say something wrong. That's
So okay. So
I'm
who
gonna
was
say what I know.
Ishmael the father of? Which Arabs was he the father of?
the father of the Arabized Arabs. It's a classification. It's a classification of the Arabs, right? Ismail came and married into the Arabs. Ismail came
Okay.
and married into the Arabs. He himself wasn't an Arab.
Okay.
There were Arabs before him.
Okay.
He wasn't the first Arab like Adam
Right.
was the first of mankind.
So then why do Muslims? Because I'm just going off what Muslims state, and they say Ishmael was the founder or the father of Arabs.
the Arabs that are being put into question, not the ancient Arabs, because there were Arabs there prior to Ismail coming. But the people who adopted the name of the Arabs from that specific group of people are the ones that directly descended from Ismail. So for example, if you look at the Quraysh, yeah, and if you keep going to Canaan and you keep going up and up and up, yeah,
To where?
to the Canaan and a few of the names. Yeah, I'm just mentioning.
Okay.
I can give you. I can try to give you a genealogy, but I would be wrong. 'Cause I know.
Because you know the Kadanites? Kadanites? Because you have that. Yeah, Arab. Okay.
So, no. It's a different guy altogether. But I was reading about this.
Okay.
But I didn't read it to remember. More like just to clear up the idea. But the point I'm trying to make is, if anyone ever makes the claim that the first Arabs, the Arabs as a people are from Ismail, generally, they'd be wrong.
Okay.
Right? And if anyone claims that, it's just a lack of knowledge.
Okay.
But the fact is, Ismail, when they came to Mecca with the Hagar and Ibrahim alayhi salam, and he left them there, eventually there were other people who dwelt in the area. And that's how they built the Kaaba, and the people around them followed the message and all of these things. And that's why even the Arabs, prior to the coming of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, they still followed along the teachings of Ismail.
So my question to you would be, before the advent of Islam, can you give me any, because you said you read about it, can you give me any historical evidence that Arabs spoke about Hagar coming to Mecca?
They spoke about Hagar coming to Mecca. I wouldn't know.
Okay.
I can look for it, but I wouldn't know.
Okay.
It's not something I particularly looked at.
Okay.
But the point is, like from what I saw, like it was a completely, it wasn't
Okay.
I want to change it back to your point though.
Okay.
Because you're using this as a stepping stone.
Okay.
So this is this, therefore Islam can't be true. And I want to address that point quickly.
No problem, go on.
And it's the same reason I asked you, can you trace your genealogy back to Adam? And you
I'm
said
not claiming to be a prophet though.
No, that's besides the point. The point
Yeah,
I'm trying to make is, you believe you're from Adam and I believe I'm from Adam because of what we believe in terms of the scripture.
Okay.
Right? So if the scripture is true and it's demonstratively true, any claim that any prophet ever made, I have to accept it. If Jesus Christ said something, and as a Muslim I have to accept everything he said, even before I ask what he said, I accept it already. That's the criteria. Yeah?
Okay.
We have to accept everything in the books. So for example, if there's something in the Jewish tradition, that's why with a lot of the stuff that are, if there's something that doesn't go in line or go against Islam, we don't speak about it. Because it could have been true, it could have not been true,
Right.
but our point is we believe it was revealed to us. So for example, if you come and tell me that God is not one, I reject it immediately because it goes against it. But if you come and tell me this prophet, for example, started levitating, I mean, could be a miracle, might have happened, I don't speak on it. I don't accept it because of the claim, I don't reject it because of the claim. But the reason I asked for that specific thing, when can you trace your journey back to Adam? You believe it, as for me, even before I go do my research, which I will, because it's an interesting topic, I like it. But based on just the fact that I accept the Prophet as a prophet, based on the evidence he came with, I don't accept him to be a prophet because of his genealogy, right? Because there's people before him.
But let me just stop you there. So my claim would be, show me in the Quran where it even says Muhammad was from Ishmael.
But would that be necessary?
My claim was, where did this assumption come from?
Where it came from?
Yeah.
We could look at it. But the point I'm trying to make is,
Right. So
I'm trying to disconnect.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, just to interject into your point,
Yeah.
because you're saying you would believe it, for you believe it came from Adam, because the claim from the Bible or the Quran would say we came from Adam. So I'm even saying, show me the claim in the Quran that says Muhammad came from Ishmael.
I'm going to let you answer that question. I'm going to ask you a question.
Right.
What is the covenant with Abraham?
The covenant, circumcision,
What else?
with his children.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So we believe that the covenant with
So
Abraham...
you see, you're saying now you're going to the Bible.
No, I'm asking what you believe. I'm going to tell you what we believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you what you believe on the
Okay,
covenant.
go on.
Right? The covenant with Abraham is all the prophets and messengers after him would come from his...
Where did you get that information from?
Where did I get it from? From the Islamic tradition.
Because that's why I'm holding you to your very own statement.
Yeah.
If the Bible claims something, you hold it to be true. So I'm saying, even show me that claim from the.
I'm not talking about the Bible.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, you said if the Quran says we came from Adam, you believe it. So that's why I said, okay, no problem. Let's use your criteria. Show me the verse where it says Muhammad came from Ishmael in the Quran.
When Muhammad came from Islam in the Quran, it's all there. I'm telling you, it's all there.
Yeah, show me his genealogy in the Quran where it says
I
he's.
told you, you don't have the genealogy.
No, but show me where it says he's descendant in the Quran from Ishmael.
It doesn't say that.
Yeah, but listen to my point.
No,
if you're
we
saying,
hear your point.
okay,
I hear your point, but that's not what he's saying.
Right, exactly. So-
Because listen, you need to understand and pin this in your
Yes.
head. The Quran is not a book about genealogy.
I know,
And
that's
he said-
fine.
And he said that
Yeah,
before.
exactly.
So not every information about Muhammad
Yes.
is in the Quran.
No problem. I'm saying I don't even need a genealogy. Let me see the claim
Yeah.
which you believe to be true.
But it doesn't have to be in the Quran.
So where is it?
No, so the point I'm trying to make is...
That's my point.
That's the question you need to ask.
Right. So where is
Yeah,
that claim?
the evidence-
Because my
The
exactly.
evidence you're asking
Yes.
is very specific. Meaning you want the same evidence you have in the
No, I said I simplified it and said show me the claim that Muhammad came from Ishmael.
where he came from Islam.
Yeah, just let's start with that.
Islamic tradition, there's a lot of genealogies back to it. Like scholars have done this.
But they all contradict each other. Ibn Ishaq was the first one who did the genealogy, and he added fake names into it.
What were the prophets' words?
Huh?
What were the prophets' words about his genealogy?
Who?
The prophet's authentic words about his genealogy. He stopped with a specific person
Adnan.
and said what?
Don't go beyond this because their genealogies are fabricated or something like that.
Historians lie. Yeah? He said the historians.
Yeah.
And that's evidence to show that already, even prior to him.
So let's see what he said.
Yeah, no, I want you to read it. And I want you to save this until the end.
Okay, actually you made a good point. Let me actually read this. So it says, I've got two sources. All right. So right, let me respond to you. So this is from a concise guide of Muhammad. It says, Ibn Sa'd asserts that when Muhammad detailed his lineage, he stopped many generations before reaching Ishmael.
Read me the hadith itself.
Yeah, but this is from a book.
I don't
Yeah, but we can discuss the point. That's fine. It says, Al-Masudi writes in two works that Muhammad forbade Muslims from tracing his lineage after Maud, who was at least 9 generations distance from Ishmael, which is actually 30.
I want you to read me the hadith specifically.
And it says he emphasizes that Muhammad commands Muslims to trace his lineage only to Maud, as genealogists are liars, which is the point you made.
I want you to read the hadith specifically. Because this is the
No, this isn't from a hadith, but let me just go to the wider
I don't know who
point.
that is.
So it says, moreover, classical Sunni hadith expert and jurist Bahadki agrees with Ibn Sa'd and Al-Masudi and writes that although some report that Muhammad was a descendant of Ishmael, this is false, as the lineage only goes to Adnan, the father of Maud. So I'm saying even within Islamic tradition, your scholars have even made a claim that Muhammad isn't from Ishmael.
They didn't say that.
What did they? I'll read it again.
I don't know where that conclusion is from.
Yeah, but I'm
Conclusion
saying
is-
you can look into it.
I've looked into the
Right.
contemporary arguments.
But so you knew the scholar I said, Al.
Behek has done a lot of stuff. It's not just this.
Okay,
He's one of the big scholars.
but it says he writes, although some report that Muhammad was a descendant of Ishmael, this is false. You would not get a Christian saying that Jesus wasn't a descendant of David.
He doesn't mean. One second.
No. You don't need to answer.
Okay, go on.
Because you know what he does? He reads this and he takes the words meaning from it. Because it's not saying he's not. He's saying
Genealogy is wrong because there's no proof for it.
he's saying
Yeah.
that. Let's say he's saying that Muhammad doesn't give approval for you to go beyond this.
Right.
So no one has the definite
Anyone goes
claim.
Yeah,
beyond
but
it.
what-
If anyone goes beyond
Yeah,
this,
but listen to the point.
yeah, let's read
And
it
we
again.
can,
Read it again.
if you're here next week, we can look at the actual source because I've got a summary. It says,
read that point again.
and write
Told this.
that although some report that Muhammad was a descendant of Ishmael,
They go up.
this is false.
Right.
As the lineage only goes to Adnan.
Meaning, the only authentic source that we accept
Right.
is the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
So where he stops, we stop.
Yes.
You could make
Right.
the argument. There's different cases and everything.
Okay.
But when I say the contemporary understanding, the contemporary approach,
Right.
is that he is a descendant of Ismail.
Right.
Because for a few factors. One, we know for a fact that if anyone claims prophethood, so now we know the Prophet Muhammad is the final prophet. So that's done. But prior to that, if anyone
Well, it's
claimed,
not done. According to you, yeah.
according to me, it's done.
Yeah.
You believe in other prophets. Anyway,
No, but just to interject quickly, but my point is this, and that's why I keep saying, like, Muslims will claim the importance of a chain of narration.
Yes.
And so I'm saying, wouldn't you, using the same logic, appreciate why a genealogy is important?
Here's the beautiful thing. What you said is what I am saying.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
chain of narration that we have that is sure 100%
Yeah.
is the one to the Prophet ﷺ and to that hadith where he stops right there.
Yeah.
So we stop right there. We could go further, but the point is we'd be trying to prove something we have no real evidence for.
Right.
So a cave inscription, a cave writing. If I
Yeah.
write right now, my dad is George Bush. Just because it's in a cave or it's really old doesn't make it true.
Yeah, but then it would mean that the genealogy is daif. We have a sahih. For Jesus, we have a sahih genealogy.
So what-
For your prophet, you have a daif
About that point, no,
genealogy.
For us to justify sahih and da'if, we look at the whole person, his whole life.
Exactly.
So if you lied someone, there's a contradiction somewhere,
Yeah.
you throw everything else out
That's
as
what
well.
I'm saying. So that's what we're doing with your genealogy.
We don't have any
where's
da'if.
the
You
lie?
have the
Where's the
da'if.
lie?
No, you
Where's
have the
the lie?
da'if because the rest of the book has.
Yeah, where's the lie?
Where's the lie?
For you to say that, where's the lie in this?
Because the narrators have to also be trustworthy,
No, but
not just that they make a lie.
I think he understands.
No, but I'm saying a liar cannot be a narrator of hadith.
So where's
because
the lie? Where's the lie? In this statement,
Yeah.
in this statement that you are trying to disprove,
Yeah.
where's the lie?
well, the lie is that he goes back to Ishmael.
No, the point is.
Where? Where is that claim? That claim is not here.
The point. This question is.
Okay,
this
go on.
question
That
is-
claim, no,
I see the point.
that claim is not here.
Yeah.
What you read,
Yeah.
that claim is not there.
No, but I'm just saying
The
in general.
claim is it goes this far.
Yes.
That's the claim.
That's what we know
Right.
for sure.
Yes.
and-
For sure. And we
Right.
accept that. Why? Because it's sahih from the Prophet in Bukhari.
Yes.
And so your point of chain of narrations, we accept it. The moment there's any wavering doubt where we can prove it, we let it go. So right now I can show you contemporary people who
Yeah.
trace. Because now for you to say you accept the one that traces him back to other than Ismail, while disregarding everyone else who traces him to Ismail, you'd be the one going with the da'if chain. Because the majority of the chains, the majority of historians, even prior to that, the advent of the Prophet and the Prophet of the Prophet, right? The Prophet Muhammad wasn't the first person in Arabia who came and said, yep, I'm from Ismail. No, they knew where they were from. They traced their fathers all the way back. But the fact of the matter is, what the Prophet gave is what we take. Anything apart from that we take away. But we know for a fact that the covenant with Abraham is this. Every prophet and messenger after him will be from his seed, from his offspring, from his children.
According to where? What's the
According
source?
to our belief. I'll give
Is
you
that in the Quran?
It's not in the Quran. The Quran is not a history book. Again,
Right. So all these all these sources
You're asking
are not
for-
necessarily authentic.
No, they're
because
authentic.
unless it's in
They're
the
authentic.
Quran or authentic hadith, this is maybe someone's opinion.
No, here's the point.
That's why I'm asking where if it's
I'll
in
give you the sources. I'll give you the
Bukhari,
sources.
is it in Muslim,
I'll give you the
is it
sources.
in
But the problem is, I feel
Mutawatir?
like the problem is you're asking the questions, yeah, and with all due respect, yeah, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything. You're asking the questions without understanding or having a foundation in how Islamic knowledge is.
Okay.
Right? When you have something that is authentic. So,
Right.
for example, if one of the companions like Ibn Abbas or Ibn Umar tells us something, we accept that as a narration from one of the companions of the Prophet.
Okay.
Right? Whether they heard it from the Prophet
All
or
right.
whether they told the Prophet and he accepted it.
So,
we accept it.
so my claim would be this: you said Muhammad said his genealogy came from Ishmael. Sorry,
told us
from
that.
Adnan.
Yeah.
Up to Adnan. Did he make a claim that it came up to Ishmael? Did he make a claim that his genealogy is from Ishmael.
No, I don't want to say yes or no, because now we're talking
Okay.
about the Prophet Muhammad, right? From my understanding, I don't know whether he said so or not. Right? I can check.
All right.
I don't want to say.
So now,
I have something I think
right.
so, but I don't want to speak.
So I guess, and that's fair that you're not sure.
Yeah, I'm not-
but then I would retort and say, if he didn't even make that claim, my criticism would be even more valid of where did this assumption come from.
If you didn't make the claim,
Yes.
that would throw your criticism under the bus, because your criticism is assuming the Prophet's claim to prophethood was the fact that he descended from Islam.
Well, this is what Muslims claim, so that's what I'm
No.
saying. If you cannot verify that even through your own sources, that means that Muslims or the da'is in the park are lying, making this claim.
No. What you mentioned right there is problematic for you, for one reason.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. The fact that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not feel the need
Right.
to trace his genealogy all the way back. He probably could have, but he did not, right? That goes to show the authenticity or the idea that he needed to be a descendant of Ismail to prove the point down
No,
here.
because my claim was, the assumption is he's a descendant of Ishmael, and he never made that claim. My question is, where did this assumption come from if he didn't even make that
The
claim?
assumption is clear. The assumption is simple. I'm trying to explain it to you. Yeah?
Yes.
If we know for a fact.
No, but I'm saying if he just said my lineage goes back to Adnan.
Read the
he-
hadith. Read the hadith.
I don't have
me
it.
get it for you, let me get
All right. So I'm saying, because let's start at the basics as you said. So I'm saying, did he even make a claim about himself being a descendant from Ishmael? If not, then where did this collective knowledge come from? Because if he said my lineage goes to Adnan but doesn't mention Ishmael,
Everyone knew that Adnan was descended from Ismail. That's
from where?
the Arabs, all the Arabs.
No, they don't.
Even
No, let me show you something. Because that's why I asked you if you know who the Canaanites are. I'm probably saying it. Because I'll just show you a wiki. I know wiki's not always accurate, but
do you have any other
no, but just so we don't spend too long looking at.
No, I
But
just wanna know where they got
it
the
says, according to Arab genealogy tradition, the Adnanites are descended from Adnan, as we've been speaking to about from Ishmael, whereas the Kahadanites, the southern Arabia, Yemen, are the original pure
That's what I
Arabs.
was talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling you about.
Right.
The Arabized Arabs.
Right.
And there's the ones that have been
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and this is where it goes into my point, because Muhammad's family was from Yemen, who moved to, as you said, Muhammad's origin, yeah,
from Yemen.
yeah, around.
have to show me that.
Okay, no, that's fine. But from here, which I'll show you, but because they're from Yemen, if that is true, and that then goes aligned with what I was saying, because the kingdom of Sheba was from northern Arabia.
Go back to the other one right now. Because that goes against your point. You just go back to that other with the wiki that you use. Although I don't take it as anything.
No,
It
but
clearly says,
right.
It clearly says right here.
There's a disagreement amongst the Arabs.
According to the Arab judges, the Adnanites descend from Adnan, who in turn comes from the Islamic prophet Ismail.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Whereas, it's a different type of Arab. They're the Qahtanites of southern Arabia are originally pure Arabs. Now let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
If the Qahtanites are from Yemen, who did the prophet trace his lineage back according to the hadith? Was it to the Qahtanites or was it to Adnan?
To Adnan.
So how then do we say he's from the Qahtanites, from Yemen?
Well, this is the problem, because his and this is where we have historic problems with the genealogies, and that's why Arabs have disputed, and that's why they said no, we're from here, and that's why I've just used this for like
but you-
just to present the
you see
point.
you see my point.
Yeah. So look, according to some modern historians, the traditional distinction between Adnanites and Kedanites lacks evidence and may have developed out of the later faction fighting during the Umayyad period. So as a historian, I'm looking at what is the validity of these claims. So if Muhammad was from the Yemen region, which according to the Bible is where the descendants of Keturah came from.
The Prophet Muhammad is not from the Yemen region. No one has ever made that. The point
Yes?
is- the point
Okay,
is-
let me show you.
This is not an adequate source for you.
No, that's fine.
I'll give you.
Let me show you. Right, so again, this is wiki. No, but because I can't go to the scholarly source, it'll take too long.
Why?
But
No, listen.
but
You
to
have
give-
been doing this study. You should have your things, and you know better
no,
than this.
because just to give a
You
summary.
know better
I
than
trust
this.
your intentions are honest. Yeah? And I'll tell you this much.
I trust your intentions are not honest.
So the point I'm making is the idea of the wiki, using wiki Islam, is like me going to church and telling them, tell me about Islam.
No, of course,
Right?
but I'm just trying to highlight what the differences are
The
historically.
point I'm making is those quote-unquote historical differences are from they don't give you sources with the information. They definitely didn't go out of their way to read the sources. They don't give you any source material. They tell you this is what it is because it supports their claim. So, for example, right now, if I wanted to disassociate Jesus Christ alayhi salam from his family line, the fact that he came from Maryam, I'll be like, okay, where does it say that Maryam came from him and that and that? It's like you're asking for questions based on, for example, it's like me asking about the lineage of King David,
Yeah,
and I go ask someone who is
yeah, but
against-
wiki is just like a neutral source.
It's
But
not a neutral source.
It's not
It's
a
not a
Christian.
neutral- I
No,
know
it's-
that- I know the
no,
rest of it.
it can be biased because people don't know what they're writing about. That's why they said in it that Muhammad is from Ishmaelite. It's probably a Muslim that's written it. But I've discarded that to even make a point.
No, the point I'm making
because
is,
if he's
yeah,
not,
no, I get you, sir. I agree with that. But the point I'm trying to make is the fact that they don't give you any sources.
no, they do. But you have to. No, but they give you a link now. But
the point I'm trying to make is,
Yeah.
when you say, for example, that these people came from these people, these people came from
Right.
these people, I can tell you for a fact that the dispute or the idea of the dispute in where the Arabs came from coming up until the later Umayyad period, that's false. That is false. And I can show you evidence to the contrary of that specific point. Not the whole thing we've been talking about, that specific point. And that raises a very big question. How did they come to that conclusion, right? Even before I know who wrote the article, how did they come to that conclusion when that goes against almost every for example, I'll give you a simple one. Yeah? The non-Muslims, the time of the Prophet ﷺ,
yeah,
they knew and they could tell us where they descended from.
right. And here's the problem: there's nothing before Islam that says we came from Ishmael.
No, the point I'm trying to make is this. The point I'm trying to make is this.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's why there would have been a dispute because from what we find historically.
Yeah, no, but your point, the point you just made right now,
Yeah.
disproves that point. Because the idea of a dispute arising at the Umayyad period was way after the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, not way after, but after him. Yeah?
Okay.
Meaning, if there was a dispute to arise at that time, as they claim, the dispute came at that time. What about the people disputing here? Do we just not ignore them and just move that way? Because that point makes the claim that no one ever talked about this stuff up until the Umayyad period, and that's the Khalifa period. That's after the Prophet Muhammad came and died, right? So you see how it's an incongruent argument.
Well, there is Islamic. I don't have it on me where the Quraysh were criticizing Muhammad's genealogy and saying it's not true, but I don't have the source on me
That's not true.
because the initial disputes.
No, that's not true. I can tell you for a fact that's not true because they knew and they accepted the fact that it was from Bani Hashim. There was never any doubt about his lineage, never in any authentic source. That's why I want. Here's the thing, right? If I would say I'm going to study Islam today, or let's say I'm going to study Christianity,
Yeah.
right? And I start reading Jehovah's Witness books, and I bring you Jehovah's Witness evidence,
Yeah.
would you accept it?
No.
Why?
Because you would want an authentic source, which goes to my point. Give me that's why I've started with the genealogy, and I said, give me an
Yeah,
authentic source.
I understand. If you want an authentic source from me, I
Yeah.
also expect an authentic source from your argument as well.
Yeah.
So for you to tell me,
but I wouldn't
let me
go to
finish, let me finish. For you to tell me that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is not from Ismail, but actually he's from here, and you support this evidence because of the wiki, or you support it.
No. But I'm not saying
I'm
I'm not saying it's true because of the wiki. I'm just saying this is the context. So we can get a summary.
Do you know whether the wiki is authentic or not? Can you say for a fact that this is authentic or not?
No, I haven't got the original sources. So I'm saying this is what the claims are. So I'm not saying it's a
Further
matter
back.
of fact
Yeah,
true.
further
That's why I
back.
did start with the disclaimer. It's from wiki. So I wasn't trying to mislead you.
You know the reason our argument doesn't go anywhere, or
Yeah.
I won't say argument, discussion.
Yeah.
The reason it doesn't go anywhere is we always revert to the question: show me the genealogy of the Prophet ﷺ from
Yes.
the Quran. It's like okay,
Yeah.
and you still want that?
What my first point of call was show me when Muhammad claims to be from Ishmael.
No, the point I'm trying to make is this.
Because would it be right to assume if he never claimed that he was from Ishmael, then it would be a wrong assumption to claim that he was from
The
Ishmael.
reason I don't say anything is because what would you bring to accept as evidence? 'Cause
No.
you keep saying Quran,
But
Quran. What's your criteria?
Because you said if the Quran says we came from Adam, you would believe we're from Adam because you believe the Quran to be true. I said, no problem. So I said, can you show me a quote from the Prophet where he said, I am a descendant of Ishmael?
I can show you multiple quotes where he calls Abraham his father.
Okay.
So is that proof for you?
But he called other people,
No, he didn't.
yes, he does.
No, he calls other people what?
Let me look.
That's not this. I'm asking.
Oh, no, because in the Quran, for example, where he calls Mary the son of Moses and the daughter.
Harun. It's not the prophet. That's what the prophet.
Yeah.
That's what the prophet. That's what the prophet did.
Because then the claim was that we are all like spiritual descendants.
No. That in Surah Maryam. Yeah, that's when Maryam alayhi salam comes back with Isa alayhi salam, and they say, Maryam, you've done a sister of Harun.
Yes,
Harun, you've done a unspeakable thing.
Yeah.
But the point is, the prophet doesn't tell us this. This is the Quran. This is the words of Allah.
Yes.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us what they said, and the idea is.
And what was her response?
What? No, Isa talked. It wasn't.
No, because
I'll show you the verse.
Because in the Quran, so it may be in the tafsir, the explanation was from the Prophet, because Jews know that Mary was not a descendant of Moses because the time frame and Miriam and I forgot her, but Aaron. So in the Quran, it looks like she's a direct descendant. The explanation was no. It's her father in a spiritual sense. So that means that she can say, I can't remember whether let's say she said the daughter. If you find the verse, yes, and we can get the exact, and we'll wrap up in like 5 minutes. Anyway, I've got to go.
Right here.
Are you a Hafiz or something?
No.
Oh, okay. Then she returned to her people carrying him, and they said, O Mary, you have certainly done a horrible thing. O sister of Aaron, your father was not an indecent man, nor was your mother unchaste. So then when people said you're not
with this verse, when it says your father, who's her father? Is it Harun? No, it's talking about Imran, right? Because we know
Imran was the go on anyway.
Right? We know this.
Yeah.
Right? So it's but this has. But let's go back to the point.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get away from the point where the Prophet Muhammad calls Abraham his father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna accept that as a criteria for him descending from Abraham?
Say that again.
When the Prophet Muhammad talks about him seeing his father Abraham, for example, in what?
Yeah. But his father wasn't Abraham.
No, but he's a descendant from him. That's what it means.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is it means descendant or a spiritual father?
But he didn't call anyone else that. He didn't call anyone else that.
Okay, so let's.
So what do you mean? He didn't say his father Musa.
Right.
He didn't say his father Harun.
But did he say it about Ishmael? Did he say about Ishmael?
He didn't. I don't know if he said about Ishmael.
But let's say if he said it about Abraham.
I don't know. I'm not aware.
Right. But if he said that about Abraham, that still goes with my point, because Keturah, the third wife, was the mother of the Arabs. So Abraham would still be his father in that sense.
But you don't have evidence for that. If anything, we have more evidence about him, the Prophet descended from Ismail.
Which is where?
What did you say?
Which is where? Because he said, but that's what I'm saying. If he says Abraham's his father, but if we know Abraham meant many children.
I understand, but the point is this, right? Is your problem with Ismail or is the problem with Abraham?
With Ishmael.
The problem with Ismail, it's pointless.
Why?
It's pointless because the criteria for example, the reason we know that Prophet or the reason, even without the evidence, even when he stops at the land, the reason we accept is we know for a fact that all the prophets and messengers have to come from Ibrahim, right? So the idea of his claim to prophethood is not touched.
That all the prophets came from
after Ibrahim. The covenant with him is all the prophets and messengers.
But I thought a prophet was sent to every nation in their own language. Doesn't the Quran say? So at what point are you saying they came before Abraham lived? So all the prophets that were sent to every nation, are you saying they only came before?
Messengers, law-bearing prophets, messengers.
So they weren't prophets.
Every messenger is a prophet, but every prophet is not a messenger. He's a Rasul and a Nabi.
All right. So you're saying what? Nabis
up until, and it's even you have to accept this because it's clear in your scripture, right? You have Abraham. Then how many other scriptures came after Abraham? You have Moses.
Yeah, or like the 40 books. Yeah.
You have Jesus, and that's it. There's no other scripture. Same thing with us. So we have the Prophet Muhammad, which you reject, which you shouldn't, though, because I'm sure it's pretty clear to you by now. But
I'm still waiting for his genealogy.
Okay. So if we example, if we're, here's the funny thing. Assuming I get your genealogy,
Yeah.
fall straight from the heavens right now, and I show it to you, would you accept it? No.
Would I accept
Yeah.
it? If it was true, then I'll say at least. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't accept it as true, but I would at least accept that you have some sort of
And then
claim
what- and then what
or
else
evidence
would
to back up what you're making.
then what else? And then you'll move to something else.
Because
I
my
understand what
point
you're saying. Yeah, I
is,
get you.
when you guys criticize the Bible, you don't. If I said, if I prove to you who wrote it, would you accept it? You would still not accept
No,
it.
because no. If you prove who write the Bible, it would be even make more sense not to accept it, because you know what, the Bible fight against itself. That's the main thing about the Bible. The Bible fight against itself. You know this.
Right. So now it's another reason. But you see, that's my point.
But the crux of the matter is,
Yeah. Let's go back to the point.
we know for a fact that all the messages after Abraham have to come from Abraham, right?
According to what?
I'll get you sources. Prophecy. Yeah, prophecy. I'll get you sources, right?
Okay.
I don't want to say anything that I'm not aware of.
All right.
But the point I'm trying to make is this. Your claim is Ismail, but your claim should be Abraham. Because even if the Prophet Muhammad came from Ismail or Ishaq or any of the others, as long as his chain back to Abraham is clear, or at least accepted, his claim to prophethood is untouched.
No, but my claim, I'm not disputing that he came from Abraham. My claim is I'm disputing he came from Ishmael.
I understand your point.
Yeah,
But the point I'm trying to
but
make
you're
is,
saying if he came from Abraham, that refutes that. I'm not
But the point I'm trying to
disputing
make
that.
So that I asked at the beginning, is this argument going to lead into the validity of Islam as a religion? And he said it might play a part.
I said
it.
it-
So what I'm doing right now is
yeah.
I'm basically cutting that line where it changed back. So we can still argue about the Ismail story, but that has nothing to do with Islam anymore. Because the fact that I can clearly show you the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ called Abraham his father, something that he did not call anyone else per se, that is not directly in his lineage, as was customary even with Somalis. Yeah, everyone's my dad growing up. That already takes the connection between Islam's validity and the lineage of the Prophet out of question. Because if we can trace it back or accept the fact that he's from Abraham through his authentic Sahih words,
Which Sahih word? Which
Isra wal Mi'raj, when the Prophet ﷺ ascended the heavens. Yeah? I'll show you.
that's not even. What authentic source is that in?
It's the hadith, it's in Bukhari and Muslim. Find it.
Where he sent to the heaven and
No,
he
when he ascended in Isra wal Mi'raj, when he traveled from Mecca to Jerusalem in one night,
and he said that's Abraham my father.
No, when he saw him, he saw Ibrahim.
Yeah, but did he say that's Abraham? You said Abraham's my father, so I said in which authentic hadith is
I'll show you.
that quoted?
You're gonna have to give him a few minutes. Though.
Because that's what I'm even giving you leeway. I'm going. Let's go step by step from the basics to see where this claim originated from. So you're saying it started.
That's besides the point.
Yeah.
The idea of Ismail, the historian juggling festival. What I'm trying to do effectively here,
Yep.
and I don't know why I didn't realize this earlier, but I realize it now. As long as I can prove authentically that the Prophet ﷺ ascribed himself to Abraham, this idea of Ismail's the genealogy and him being a prophet comes into is effectively shut down.
No, because my claim is, and that's why I keep repeating, Muslims claim that Muhammad is a descendant of Ishmael. So my question is, where did this claim come from? It wasn't that he came from Abraham, because even if, let's say he says Abraham is my father, it does not validate the claim that he came from Ishmael. That's a different claim.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. Whether he came from Ismail, if he comes from Ismail, he has to come from Abraham, right? That's accepted, right?
But Abraham has different
No,
sons.
I'm asking, if he came from Ismail, it's accepted that he's from Abraham.
Yeah.
If he came from Isaac, it's accepted that he's from Abraham. Whether he came from anyone else, as long as it's from the sons of Abraham, the point being, the reason people say Ismail,
Right.
it's, of course we do believe that, right? And we
Based on what?
The point is, though, the reason that is important, per se,
Yes.
and the importance is the covenant with Ibrahim alayhi salam,
Right.
which was all the messages would come from his children.
Yeah, but you're diverting the point. I'm asking simply.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yes,
I
and you're saying, well, we go back to Abraham. That will prove. But I'm saying the claim.
I'm done with the Ismail because I have to go read up. Right? I have to go
Okay,
read up.
so you're
from what
not
I know.
sure.
I'm not sure about.
That's fine.
Because clearly, if the prophet stopped at Adnan and said the rest are inauthentic,
Yeah.
even if you were to come with the real one,
Yeah, but that's why I said if there's a difference between him saying Ishmael was my father, but the genealogy stops at Adnan, or what is your genealogy? I will give you my genealogy up to Adnan.
Oh, okay. So what you're basically asking for isn't per se a genealogy. Do you want a direct, or do you want the idea that he is from Ismail? What is it?
Yeah, I'm making it even easier for you because originally I wanted the genealogy.
Right, and now you want
we
it
don't
from
have that.
Okay,
so then
that's
I'm
fine.
saying, where did the assumption that he came from Ishmael come
I'm
from?
gonna read up on that specifically.
Okay.
Because I've read about it, but not to the point where I might say the wrong thing.
Okay.
But one second. But the point I'm trying to make is now
All
we
right.
put that aside.
All right. So I'll let you just make a conclusion because I've got to go. Yeah.
The main premise of the idea that the Prophet ﷺ descended from Ismail, the important aspect of it is this: that if anything strengthens his claim to prophethood, because we know all the messages will come from Abraham. Ismail is from Abraham, therefore he's from Abraham. But if your point is we're not sure about him descending from Ismail, therefore Islam is in question, the fact that we know that the Prophet ﷺ ascribed Ibrahim to himself, right? He ascribed himself to Ibrahim, that opposed the claim that he is from Abraham, right? Or Ibrahim. Meaning, if you want to use the descendancy or the genealogy of Ismail alayhi salam to weigh out whether Islam is true, his prophethood is true or not, that's besides the point. Now that just becomes a conversation on the side, right? That holds no water in terms of he has to come from Abraham for us to accept him as a prophet. Okay, I can show you already direct line because Ibrahim is father.
So now, if I believe Jesus is God, does that make him God? If I believe Jesus is God, does that make him God?
Why did he say he was God? Then we'll talk about it. But I can show you where Ibrahim...
My claim, my statement was, if I believe he's God, does that make Jesus God? Right. So that's what I'm saying. So you're saying even if so going to your statement, if you believe he's from Ishmael, Abraham, you went on to the point. So my point is, even if someone makes a claim, so I'm saying based on that, so I'm saying based on even that, the next step would then be, but that's what I'm saying. The next step would then be the evidence, because you would say, why do I believe Jesus is God? So even though, yes, because you would accept that I believe Jesus is God, but then you wouldn't believe it's true because then you would want more proofs. So that's why I'm saying step by step.
So what you're asking for, what basically the story is, even if I give you the source, you're gonna question a rabbit hole.
Yes, because I'm saying we're going step by step. That's why I said, okay, you made the claim he was from Abraham, so now I can accept. If you can show me the authentic source,
real quick, I'm gonna dash. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna wait for that. Yeah? So this is besides the point question. Because I'm gonna do. Are you gonna be here next week?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my research.
No problem.
If I don't have any authentic source,
what's your name?
My name is Hirsi.
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 Yeah.
Nice conversation.
What's your name?
Paperboy. Yeah.
So the question now is, do you require this much evidence to base your general belief as a Christian?
I think a claim should be based on evidence that supports the claim. For example, if you go to court and make a claim about something, the more evidence that supports your claim, the more likely you're going to find that statement reliable. So I'm saying a claim should be also supported by, evidence.
I agree with this, of course. What I'm trying to ask is the question I'm going to ask, and because I'm going to come back next week.
Right.
I'm going to do my research, but I want to specifically know and specifically ask this question. If you ask me questions like this, I'm sure you'd be okay with me asking you the same.
No problem.
So if you cannot provide the same evidence I can provide, whether it's your belief, your doctrine...
no problem. Because I think...
Would it be justified for me to say that you're being unfair in terms of how you...
It would be. Because my thing is, and this is why I ask sometimes, and that's why I started by saying Muslims, for example, will claim about chains, of the importance of chains with the hadith or the Quran. No, but I know, but this is what I'm just giving you my logic. So the logic would be a genealogy should have that same importance or understanding of why genealogy is important, to know who is so and so. So I'm saying my logic, when you ask me the same questions, is that logic should be a rule of beliefs and assumptions that applied consistently with the evidence that you're analyzing.
Right. I want to say this. Let me say this. What if the belief that Muhammad is from Ishmael is based on a deduction?
Well, that's how I say let's investigate that.
Because let's say the children, whosoever the children of Abraham, but they deduct who is not.
So in conclusion to this conversation, had a very pleasant conversation with the Somali brother, who's now gone. But essentially this conversation started by asking Muslims why do they believe Muhammad was an Ishmaelite, because this assumption seems to have come from somewhere. And according to the Bible, because Muslims will claim the passage in Deuteronomy where it says that a prophet would come from amongst your brethren. So my question is, according to that's got nothing to do with this conversation. That's got nothing to do with the conversation. So essentially, the conversation started by looking at the very foundation of the faith. So if you claim a prophet to be from somewhere, my question was, what is the evidence that you can provide to confirm that this person is from this lineage? Because what we find historically is that Josephus was one of the first people we see that's called Arabs Ishmaelites. And then from this time, Christians started to call Arabs Ishmaelites. But actually, when we look in the Bible and investigate the claims, the Arabs in Arabia came from Keturah, not Hagar. So we see the line of Ishmael, but we see the line of Keturah, which descends into the Bedouins and those from Saudi Arabia, especially where the region in Yemen, where Sheba, where Muhammad was from. So the question is, the biblical evidence seems to be at odds, or in line with the historical evidence, but seems to be at odds with Islamic narrative. So I ask, can you prove from the Quran, can you prove from the Sunnah, can you prove from any Islamic or pre-Islamic information that proves that Muhammad is from the line of Ishmael? The reason why I brought this claim up is for consistency, because Muslims will claim the importance of having chains of narration. For example, who was the father, who was this relayed to, who was this hadith relayed to, and so forth. So essentially, we're applying the same criteria to genealogies. In the Bible, we see Jesus' genealogy because the Jews knew that was important. So for some reason, we don't see in Islamic literature pre-Quran any information about lineages. So essentially the wrap-up was, and in wrapping up, if you cannot prove that Muhammad was from Ishmael, why then do Muslims claim that Muhammad was from Ishmael? This would be a false claim. And then this would be the basis, because a lot of the time we see the Da'is in the park arguing that Muhammad is from Ishmael, which is proof of his prophethood. But then if you take away that main claim, then that takes away their main contention for his proof of prophethood. So then if he wasn't from Ishmael, then where was he from? And how can we then assure that he was a true prophet? So we said we'll have a conversation next week and we'll see what the evidences are brought. And on a note, peace out.